This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No.
This
Just
is
stop.
a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to DBL. I am Sam, in for Jeff. We got to talk about the Olympics, the closing ceremony. Oh my gosh, it was so good. So the Olympic flame was officially extinguished in Paris as Tom Cruise made the most dramatic entrance at the closing ceremony. So first, jumped from the top of the stadium. Remember, his tiptoes were hanging off. I freaked out. Landing among the athletes, of course, the Olympic flag was then officially passed off from Paris as Tom took it from Simone Biles, of course. He then carried the flag out of the stadium on a motorcycle, riding through the streets, I know, of Paris, passing it along to Los Angeles, where the next Summer Games will happen in 2028. Tom then skydived the flag to the Hollywood sign, which was transformed to include the Olympic rings. Look at that.
So classy.
In a pre-recorded segment, Elle welcomed the flag with the help of stars like Snoop Dogg, who performed two of his biggest hits, including Drop It Like It's Hot. Dr. Dre then joined him on stage. The Red Hot Chili Peppers rocked out. It was amazing. As well as Billie Eilish, who brought her signature grunge style. So what did we all think of Tom's big handoff? What did you think, Steph?
I was thrilled. I honestly thought, you know, this is Hollywood at its finest. They took it up a gear. I was really done with, I know the French are very artistic and everything's very moody and we've got all people running around in rags. Yeah, Les Mis were moving on. They were. What was that weird bee man?
I loved him.
I hated that thing. It was gave me nightmares last night with this weird creepy move. Oh,
it was very French.
It was very creepy. And so when Tom Cruise came, I thought, thank you. And then he did the whole Maverick thing. And then it was just so LA. We were on the beach. We've got Snoop Dogg. We've got Billie Eilish. I mean, Hollywood knows how to throw a party. And I'm telling you, yes, we've done all the theatrics now with France. Now it's time to give it up A-lister celebrity style. I mean, America really took it down.
Yeah. Quickly respond.
No, you.
Okay,
I was just going to say,
last night? Blown away?
Blown away, and just loves how we're setting the tone. Our export, some countries export goods and cars. Yeah. We export swag and entertainment and music and pop culture. That's what we do. That's what we do, and that's what was represented when I saw when I saw Snoop and the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Flea and Tom Cruise and all the people I want to see. So well done. Stay in. This is what happens when you stay in your lane, Sam.
And
this is our lane.
Speaking of staying in your lane, kudos to Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre because they got a lot of pushback when they first came on the scene. Am I right? What are they? They are on the world stage. Literally being picked to usher and be ambassadors of the LA Olympics. So
it's amazing. There's a tweet that says, my mother wrote me and says how much she loves him, Snoop Dogg, and he goes, remember you grounded me for listening to his CD.
I don't think it's got enough, Tori, just what was happening and the panic in America. They're coming for your suburban kids with their hip hop and boom boxes. And now
look at this.
And then Snoop wrote, thanks, Josh's mom. Like he really is
unity now.
Totally.
Yes.
So love it. Okay, we also have to talk about this Australian breakdancer known as Raygun. Has gone viral, unfortunately, for all the wrong reasons. On Friday, she competed with some surprising moves, including the kangaroo. That's what they're calling it. Some of her other moves were also mocked online, and ultimately, the judges were not impressed because they gave her 0. Now Raygun is defending her performance, saying she was never going to beat the other girls with their power moves, and instead opted to bring in her own creativity. So, Al, you're a fan of breakdancing. What did you think of this? Were you shocked? How did this even make it in the Olympics?
I think that was where the shock lied, Sam. It's just, I don't understand. I've been to Australia a couple times. There's a hip hop scene there. There had to be somebody in that beautiful country, that could breakdance slightly better. It just because when I saw her, I was like, well, Tor, there must be like a sleeping dragon inside of her ready to come out, and there was not.
Right, because she was wearing the golf outfit. Startled me at first, the tucked in, and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
You were waiting for a surprise.
I did. I thought she was gonna like slide and then rip it off or something, and then she did like the toe tap, like
there was one where she just mashed her face in the ground and then just did a 360 with her feet, like a lawn sprinkler, and I kept thinking maybe I'm looking at this wrong and maybe breakdancing has changed, but everybody was like, no, you're.
The qualifying aspect of it. Like when I think of swimming, it doesn't matter what country you're from, you're not going to the Olympics unless you meet that qualifying standard time. That way you don't have like Joe Schmo competing in the Olympics because their country doesn't have good swimmers. You still have to meet that high standard of a qualification. So I think they're going to have to review.
This is her qualifying.
But the crowd is not wowed right now.
This is her qualification video from Oceania, just so you guys know.
She does have a PhD. She is a professor. I want to give her credit. I know.
I like that though, Sam. She's trying. Okay, really, I want to ask you a really hard question, really quick, Steph. If you could go to the Olympics for a sport, but you were not good at it, you were as good as she is at breakdancing, would you go just for the experience knowing you were going to?
You can't.
She did it, the breakdancer?
If she was a comedian, literally, if she was a comedian and she had the idea of, you know what, I'm going to make this into my next career, my next show, and it's literally making a mockery of herself, but then it's making a mockery of the Olympics. I was waiting at the Olympic final last night. Was she going to come out and just dance
Guys,
in the middle?
This isn't American Idol where anybody can go and perform, and then old school Simon Cowell was able to make fun of them and critique them.
The Olympics should have had a set standard.
They do in every other sport.
Yeah, this one needs work. They also don't have enough money for it to continue. So yeah, it's new. It's a baby step.
No, but someone should have vetted it first, because
I agree with Steph.
if I was Australian, I would be, I'm sorry guys, ashamed. No, but
that made it so much worse because you were so honest when you said that.
My fellow Commonwealthers, it's all, I seen all the memes, they're all like playing the music. I come from a land down under, and it's awful.
Yeah,
I know.
Bad.
It's so shameful.
We love you, Raygun.
We do love you, Raygun. Okay, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are the new Hollywood power couple. They're the first married couple in 34 years to have their movies ranked #1 and 2 at the weekend box office. So for the third weekend in a row, Deadpool and Wolverine topped the box office, bringing in $54 million. It's now made nearly $500 million domestically. Meantime, Blake's movie It Ends With Us took the #2 spot and brought in $50 million. The last time that happened was back in 1990 with then married couple Bruce Willis and Demi Moore. Bruce's film Die Hard 2 came out on July 4th and made $22 million that weekend, and Demi's Ghost was released 2 weeks later. And at one point, they were the #1 and 2 movies at the box office, but Ghost eventually went on to be the highest grossing film of the year. Why do you think so many people, Steph, are gravitating towards Blake and Ryan? What is it about them?
You know what, I think they do put their relationship on display, but they're not spilling all their gory details, and they're not trying to be something that they're not. I know Tori has mentioned before about Jennifer Lopez, and she puts this like beautiful facade on, which is everyone can see straight through now. We know it's not true. They're brutally honest. They make fun of one another. They support each other. And it's like the epitome of what every relationship would hope to be, isn't it? They're in for the long term. They're in for the ride. Their family means everything. Their morals are good. And it seems so sincere.
Yeah, and their sense of humor is so on point. I have to really point this out. Their universe, not the Marvel-verse, is the metaverse. And the whole idea is like it's meta. It's a superhero that's meta. That could not be more 2024. So they just really get it. He's in Mint Mobile. He's doing other things. They've got their hand on the pulse of things that are really cool. And J-Lo's not.
But yeah, and I'm thinking about this in real time, and we are not here to attack J-Lo, so I don't think Tori meant it like that. But if you look about just the actual movies, the vehicles in which this is being promoted to the public, Deadpool, Wolverine, anti-heroes. Bruce Willis was John McClane in the movie, very much an anti-hero.
Yep.
When you think about, The End of Us, what's the name of this movie?
It Ends With Us.
It Ends With Us. And with Ghost, not a traditional love, and It Ends With Us is not a love story really at all, but Ghost is a different kind of way to tell a love story, and it shows people that the traditional way of telling a story doesn't resonate as much as kind of the alternate path with these alternate kinds of people that people identify with more than just your traditional perfect knight in shining armor.
You could be a movie critic, my friend. Was that not an in-depth review?
It was okay.
No. We need to come up with something. Instead of like 2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down, what should it be?
You know what it is?
What?
2 hops, yes, for Raygun.
But like in a year, people won't know what that is.
What if it's like 1 elbow out?
No.
Wow.
Nope.
2 elbows.
I do. I don't know, we'll think of something.
Okay, we got it.
Yeah.
All right, coming up on DBL, Rob Schneider's daughter, Elle King, is speaking out about the relationship, why she says she does not want to be associated with him. And we're getting our first look at the live-action remake of Snow White. We're talking about why some people are feeling grumpy about the film. Like who? Who? Welcome back to DBL. Singer Elle King is opening up about her strained relationship with her famous dad, comedian Rob Schneider. So Elle appeared on the Dumb Blonde podcast where she talked about her toxic relationship with her dad and why she doesn't want to be associated with him. She says he has a more conservative point of view, especially when it comes to politics. Take a look.
I was like a really, really heavy child. My dad sent me to fat camp. And then I got in trouble one year because I sprained my ankle and I didn't lose any weight. Very toxic and very silly. I disagree with a lot of the things that he says. You're talking about drag and, you know, anti-gay rights, and it's like, get like,
no, I never heard that. I didn't know that.
He's just talking out of and I want to use this opportunity to say, I disagree. I do not agree with what he says.
Okay, I think we can bring this to a relatable format where I think a lot of people within their families have disagreements, especially when it comes to like really specific ideologies. And I can understand how it can define and also break up a family. But what do you think about her doing it publicly, airing the dirty laundry?
I thought about that, and I want to throw that to you guys. For as much as I've learned this from our own Erica Cobb, keep personal things within your own walls. Don't take that out into the public. I get that, but her dad was very public and is still very, very, very public. So I hesitated to cast any judgment on her talking about such a private relationship between her and her father because she doesn't have a choice. Her dad was one of the most famous comics in the world 20 years ago, and so it's very hard for her to avoid that, and she's saying her honest opinion.
Yeah, Rob Schneider, if you
Her dad's been out there.
Yeah, and Rob Schneider also is almost cartoonish in his way of speaking out his views, like he was on SNL, and he uses humor, but he's extreme. I mean, he is an extreme right-wing person if you listen to him, and he's on a lot of podcasts and he goes on a lot of things, and I'm really proud of her because she has agency and she can make a boundary, and she did. And she's saying, I completely disagree, and here's my platform. I own it, and I'm going to speak from it. So I think at some point, I've seen families where they have very different views, but they can be civil. But that's also okay to have strong boundaries and realize you raise someone with the amount of commitment and determination that you have for the right wing, she has for the other side. I think it's good on her.
What do you think, Steph?
I think it depends, each individual person, it depends on the inner workings of their family and what that looks like for them, because every single family unit is so different. Some people are really private, but to have a dad that is so publicly known and out there and is so outspoken and makes his viewpoints so well known, I don't see why it's any issue that then she wouldn't say, hey, you know what, I'm completely opposing to this and it doesn't align with me and my values.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it comes par with the course, right?
Yeah.
Especially because people keep asking her too. What are you supposed to say?
Right, and he's really, really out there.
Right. If he wasn't really out there, what would you think?
Differently.
You
Yeah.
would.
I would.
Okay.
I would.
I just think it's hard, you know, because this is your father.
Right.
You know, politics has really come into the fold in the last 10 years where regular people know what's going on with politics. I'm including myself in those regular people. But you knew this person when you were 8.
And she said
you're going
toxic,
to know him when he's 80. Yeah, so it's like this has
There
been
was
a
personal
thing.
stuff.
It definitely seems like there was something in that that's been cooking for a while.
But I think really quickly makes it different. If she were, and we've seen this with other celebrity children who aren't in the entertainment industry, and then they get their way in by speaking ill of said parent. She already has a very successful career. If you guys have not heard X's and O's, it's like a number, or was like one of the top 10 songs for a while, and people show up to her concerts. A lot of people didn't know she was Rob Schneider's daughter.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that she is in the public eye, she has every right to say, this isn't how I think. I don't want to be guilty by association.
Right. She has
That's
a
where I
platform.
think that line is.
Absolutely.
Good conversation.
Platform of her own.
Coming up on DBL, controversies surrounding the new live-action remake of Snow White, but why? We're going to talk all about it next. Welcome back. We are getting a first look at the new live-action Snow White movie. I'm so excited. This is starring Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. Take a look.
Whistle while you work. Whistle while you work. Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the
until next year, but it's already facing controversy. First, some people were saying Rachel, who is a Colombian, or who is Colombian and Polish, wasn't white enough to play Snow White. Others criticized the new story or the new take on the story. In an interview with Variety, Rachel said, instead of waiting to be saved by a prince, Snow White dreams of being a fantastic leader. Actor Peter Dinklage also criticized how the movie is trying to be progressive in some ways, but is still telling a, quote, backward story about dwarfs working in a cave. The dwarfs in the new film appear to be CGI and are not portrayed by live actors.
What are we doing here? What are we doing?
What's wrong?
Why are we remaking this movie? And then we're making this progressive. Why make a new story?
No.
Why are we making this? Is
because those stories make money. Didn't we just talk about Deadpool and Wolverine making $1 billion?
You need CGI dwarves, and you're gonna make these people angry. Then you're gonna have these people make a new story.
Who cares if people are angry? It's not for them. It's for people like my daughter who live and breathe Snow White. And I think it's time that they make it a little bit more modern. Because if you do watch the original Snow White, which we do all the time, there's parts in there that make me cringe about the whiter the skin, the more beautiful you are. I'm so happy they cast.
Somebody said that?
Yeah, that's the whole line. Literally the line. Her skin is white as snow
and so fair, and it's just even if it's an
it's troublesome.
It's troublesome.
The whole thing is troublesome.
So the fact,
I can't believe that.
The seven men
credit where credit's due. The fact that we have a Colombian actress now portraying Snow White. The fact that Halle Bailey, for the original, I believe we have a picture of her, had the new take on The Little Mermaid. I mean, these are stories that needed to be modernized. We're tired of the princesses who need to be saved by a man. We're tired of all of that. So I'm glad they're modernizing it for young people like my daughter, who I want to be more strong-willed than just depending on a man to save her.
I totally agree, but I think one faction that's never accounted for is for the people that aren't your daughter's age. If people grew up with these stories and hold them close to their heart. Yes, but they want to think that their grandkids are also going to get the same story. It's their way to kind of connect with that generation, and for them to be told that these are problematic, which they are.
You can still watch both.
I understand, but I'm saying
watches both.
It's almost like, you know how like we'll do those stories around Thanksgiving and somebody say, Grandma, instead of making your dressing this way, do it with vegan cheese. It's not that it's not healthier, it's that you're saying there's something wrong with her recipe, and that's why people take it personally. I'm not saying they're right.
Yeah, it's okay if they can.
Yeah, and that's where the pushback is coming from. But I totally agree. I would want Sophie to watch this version. I want my kids to watch this version. But when you go, well, why do people cling to the other version? It's because what they're hearing is something is wrong with me in the way I grew up.
I understand that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think they should come up with new stories. But,
there's plenty of new
Tori wants us to come up with a whole new...
You got 7 men with 1 woman. They're working in caves. It's not good for the lungs. The whole thing is problematic.
I think they should have taken this opportunity to not use CGI dwarves and literally hire actors that are fantastic, like Peter, who you mentioned, and bring that into it to say, okay, how would you want this to be portrayed? How do you want people to see you?
Ask them, because you're right.
Yes.
Typically, you know,
because it does make a bit of a mockery.
Right.
Really,
little people have spoken out saying the Wizard of Oz and Snow White have made little people feel like that they are
uncomfortable.
Seen,
you're right.
Well, not only uncomfortable, seen as almost like a caricature of themselves. But maybe if they would have gotten like a Peter Dinklage involved, maybe they could have modernized that part of it too.
I mean, if they're going to let Snow White have a different dream, I think this is a basic.
That's a new story. We're writing a new movie.
It's not. It's just
write a new story for Sophie that
people don't want new stories.
This one.
All right. Snow White.
This isn't fan fiction.
7, whatever, dopey.
We will be right back. Welcome back. Singer Sabrina Carpenter got a bit of a scare during a recent concert. So Sabrina screamed after some pyrotechnics went off at her show in San Francisco. She then ran off stage, but did not appear to be hurt.
I feel like you should know where every single pyrotechnics is at every single time, and I don't think that was prepped right.
Maybe she did know and one went
Maybe
haywire.
she's just being dramatic.
Maybe it went haywire.
Right.
Yeah, my old school show must go on. You still got the front of the stage right there. Keep rocking.
I feel like it looks staged, like
Michael
they just did it on
Jackson.
purpose.
Yeah, remember what happened to Michael Jackson?
Yeah, but he was like standing over top of a pyrotechnic. She's a 100-foot stage. Keep singing.
Bye, guys.